pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Observe a moment of silence, please. Thank you. At this time, I'd like to call the meeting to order. And before we go, Brenda, you have the floor.
I just want to thank the City of Mountain Grove for the opportunities they give us as employees of the city sometimes. And one of them this week was being able to go to a Cardinals game in Springfield. I enjoyed it tremendously, so thank you very much.
We'll call the meeting to order for the City Council meeting on Monday, September 9th, 2024, 6 p.m. Council, in front of you, you have minutes from the last meeting along with some executive minutes. If I have no corrections or amendments to those, I'd entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
Second.
Motion and a second. Webb and Brenda, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. Jamie's going to be here. She's in the middle of her class. She's going to be here just shortly, so we'll go right ahead. Chief Gibbons, if you want to come up and talk to us, do we want to do that or wait to do that?
What?
At least think we'll wait till we do that down there.
Just wait.
Okay. Go right ahead, sir.
Well, good evening, guys. So, fire department last month, we responded to 105 calls for service. We've had multiple paid per call members stay the night, so the extra bedrooms are definitely a hit. They're really enjoying it. Last month, I attended 2 separate meetings in Jefferson City with the Division of Fire Safety. I was actually selected as a subject matter expert for the upcoming update to the Fire 1 and 2 certification process, as well as the fire inspector certification process. Basically what that means is me and a group of, with the Fire 1 and 2 is about 40 inspectors, about 9 of us. We're basically going to set the standard for the next 5-ish years on certification. And it's something, you know, it's kind of a big deal because not everybody gets selected. So I'm pretty proud of that. This coming Friday, September the 13th, we're going to be hosting a child safety seat drive-through check at the new fire station. In September is Safety Seat Month, the Safety Month, Child Safety Month, and they're popping up all over the place. And when I got my Child Safety Seat Technician certification, I set Mountain Grove Fire Department up as a fitting station. So we have seats that we've gotten on a grant through MoDOT, and we can give those out. People can come up if they need a seat. We can get one as long as we fill the paperwork out. They can have one free of charge. So that'll be from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So if you or anyone you know has a child safety seat in their vehicle, tell them to come on by and see me. Health department will be there as well. Courtney Glenn, she's also a child safety seat technician here in town. So, you know, we'll have a little conveyor line going and drive through and check your seat, make sure everything's good there. And then on Saturday, my Fire 1 and 2 class, we're going to be traveling to West Plains for our live fire evaluations. This is the second to last evaluation that they'll have before they'll be able to sit for state certification. The 10 that we currently have in class, I feel like they're going to pass with no problems. So I'm pretty excited about that too. Our open house is going to be Friday, September 20th from 2 to 6 p.m. So if you have the time, please come by and see the new station. We'll be cooking hamburgers and hot dogs. for everybody that shows up. Yes, sir.
Say that time and date again, please.
It's September 20th from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m.
2 to 6, thank you.
Yep. We'll also be doing tours of the new station, let the little kids climb through the trucks and, you know, just spread some fire safety information to people. And then I was also told that the new fire engine will be on site, so we'll be able to do a dedication for that as well. Do the traditional wash down that, you know, it's real ingrained in the fire service that you wash a truck before you push it in the bay. And we're having commemorative towels made. It's going to have the fire department logo with 2024 on the bottom of it. And anybody that comes and helps out with that will be able to keep that. Kind of a little keepsake for the community. Speaking of the new truck, myself, Assistant Chief Smart, and Captain Tinsley went down to Springfield the last week of August. It's in Springfield. It's already here in town. Well, not here in town, but close. They're putting stickers on, putting the drawers in that we asked for and everything. That was all encompassed in that bid. They said it should be ready to go a day or two before the open house. So we're pretty excited about that. I actually took the time, I printed out some pictures of what the stickering is going to look like. It's definitely needed, definitely a big upgrade for the community, and we're all pretty proud of it, pretty excited to get it here and get it in service and get to using it to protect the community. And that's pretty much all I have for August. That was a pretty busy
Thank you.
month.
Question, council?
Does the washing last from 2 to 6, or just a certain time you do your washing?
It'll be integrated into that 2 to 6. Once we get a little closer, we'll probably nail down a specific time for it. That way, if they want to come just for that, then we'll put that out on the Facebook page and let the city share that out and, you know, share it ourselves amongst our personal pages. But it seems like everybody's pretty excited for us to get a new truck, so.
The house that burned down, I'm not sure what that road is called, just south.
Morris Road?
Yes. What caused that fire?
Well, I actually spoke with the insurance investigator. I've known him a long time. He was telling me that it looked like what we were thinking was lightning. Because there was, I think he said 600 lightning strikes within 1/8 of a mile right there or something. So it was pretty sky, but, you know, that's some of the stuff that happens.
Okay, anything else? Thanks, sir. Chief Bledsoe? Sean and Sean? Hear just a little bit, okay?
Good evening.
Chief.
Busy month for us, 1,031 calls. So we were hopping this month. We've been busy working. We had some overtime grants that we've worked this last month for hazardous driving and seatbelt enforcement. Obviously, there'll be another campaign like Chief Gibbons was talking about for car seats coming up this month that we hope to participate in as well. But I think Larry said that one of his employees got kicked off of the prosecutor portal for a week, and when she come back, there was over 100 tickets to process. So we've definitely been busy working. So I am losing an employee. Our secretary downstairs is relocating, so we're in the active hunt looking for a new person at the front window. So, but our new Durangos are in. We went and picked those up this last month. We are just waiting on some equipment to be shipped in before we can get them ready for the road and get them assigned. So.
You know how long that takes, Larry? I mean, Danny?
For the equipment. Some is in. What was back ordered were the consoles for the vehicles, and they said it would be about 5 weeks, so it should be getting pretty close anytime. So that's what held us up the last time too, were consoles.
Where they come from?
You know, I really don't know.
It's just an electronic company that does it, yeah.
Yeah.
Probably made overseas, I'm sure.
I'm sure.
They give you an estimated time?
They said 5 weeks, but we'll see.
Okay, all right. Thanks, sir. Anything else, council? Danny, appreciate it. Be careful out there.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate all you guys do to, I know sometimes it's not fun, but appreciate it. Senior citizen report. I'll have that out. I'm behind here. How many, what we got? 4,600, that's up, isn't it? 1633, 24, home deliveries 29, almost 3,000. That's good.
It's still good numbers. I think we're a little down from last month.
Good. Okay. Jamie is not here. You have the citizen advisory. They have a copy of that, don't they? Okay. It should be attached. Whenever Jamie gets here, we'll come back to that. We do have one, Amanda, you signed up on the public comment, but you're on the agenda, so we'll get to that, okay? All right, before we move on to old business, we're gonna have a couple of city employees here, Sean Smart and Sean McDonald. If you boys will come up, please. Young men, I'm sorry, boys, you're not boys. Men, they're boys to me, they're just kids. All right, Becky knows more about this than I do, but Sean, would you tell us your class, Smart, what class did you take?
I took a wastewater class. It's a wastewater specialist class.
Wastewater specialist for the sewer lagoon out there that can do that, okay? Because in the past, we were left without nothing. DNR worked with us, was very good to do it. Sean stepped up, come up there and took care of that. Him and Randy have worked hard. And Sean, what class did you have?
I took the water technician side.
The water technician side, which is, I guess you have to have more of them too, don't you? Both of them, it's okay.
Yep.
Yeah, but this process that they just went through was a 2-year
2 year, we went twice a month.
process.
2 year, twice a month,
Oh, wow.
yes. And they graduated in Lebanon, what, 2 weeks ago?
A month or so.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we appreciate your hard work. I know after talking to Sean and Randy and the books are, because you have to learn, and I didn't realize this, but you men have to learn whether you're in San Francisco treatment, Los Angeles, or small town Missouri. I mean, you know, St. Louis, Kansas City, and all them, you go through the same stuff as if you were there. So everything they had to learn, even though they won't use it.
What we appreciate about these guys though too is they're still willing to go through training. There's still training that they're gonna need going forward, and they're both willing to do that and invest the time to get that in. So we really do appreciate you guys and what you do.
And those classes were anywhere from Springfield, Lebanon, and closer?
Republic in Springfield.
Republic, yeah. And they're a couple hours a night?
They were all day classes. Yeah.
All
All
day.
day.
Yeah.
So you drove up there all day and
Twice a month
twice a month?
for 2
yeah.
years.
2 years.
Well, man, we appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, go home. Thanks. All right. Next thing on the agenda is the old business resolution 2024-04, master equipment lease purchase agreement.
This is just finishing up the paperwork for the financing that you all chose through Rev Financial for the fire truck. Our first payment will not start on that for a year. And this is just the resolution that has to be passed. You guys already approved the financing, but their company requires a resolution from the council to be included with the paperwork. So that's what this is.
And this, if anyone would like to review this,
Well, it's
you can-
attached to their,
if this is
agenda
attached, okay,
also.
if you have a chance to look at that, all right. I'd entertain a motion to, make the resolution. Webb made the
Second.
motion, second?
Second,
Second? Now let's do a voice vote, Mark.
yes.
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 Thank you. Now, Chief, when's the delivery on the truck?
It should be
the week of the
I've
20th.
got the week of the open house.
Is it gonna be here maybe the 20th?
Yeah.
Okay,
It will
good.
be here.
Okay. New business. We have a rezoning request for R2 to A1, parcel 21-3.0-05-4-001-005.0. Ms. Ben Hertz.
Yes.
Becky, if you wanna go through that a
Yeah,
little
you
bit.
guys have a copy of the map and the minutes from the zoning board. So what this is a recommendation from the zoning board. Ben presented, information on a lot that he has. So I kind of explained a little bit in my admin. Ben was under the impression that back when the properties that join that say A1, when he requested that from the zoning board, he thought they did all of the parcels at that time, but it wasn't included in the original A1, although this piece of property has been maintained as ag property the whole time. Ben's had cattle there. So the board did approve, the zoning board did approve recommendation to go to the council to approve it to go from R2 to A1, which is agricultural. Your options at this point is to approve the recommendation from the zoning board to make it agricultural. Other than that, you can either do it as conditional use, which is not what he requested. He requested for it to be changed. So the options there are to completely change it, conditional use, to where it would revert back to R2 if Ben ever sold the property, which he has no intentions of doing that. And then, or to decline the recommendation by the zoning board. So it's up to council for final approval.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I move we change this from R2 to A1.
Yes.
Okay. Have a motion to second?
Can we discuss
Okay.
for a moment?
Go ahead.
Is there any reason that we might want to consider a conditional use for future, someone wants development after, I'm sure you're not going to sell it again.
The other property you have is agriculture, in it. It joins it all over, okay.
I've been farming on all of it since I was about 7. Always kept hay cut twice a year.
Okay.
It would be worth more to me to have it, even though as far as I'm concerned, I'll always have it. But, I mean, it just makes sense. It's all it's ever been. It's never been anything else up there.
All right, any other comments or questions? Have a motion and a second. Mark, how do you vote?
Yes.
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 Abstain.
For sure, you think?
Well, I told him, yeah.
Webb?
Yes.
Brenda?
Yes.
Okay. Would you make that in the minutes that Zach abstained?
Why?
Yes, yeah.
He'll have to deal with
Threat.
it someday. His daddy's not gonna let her.
All right,
He'd die trying though.
Pete Proctor, is Pete's not here? Okay,
I talked to
He
him, and
was-
he said he was coming.
he may,
He may be running late.
I guarantee you Pete Proctor thinks it's tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. Or did you tell him Monday?
I
If
think
he shows up
I
later-
think it was today that I,
Okay,
Talked to him on the phone when I was in your office. Bob.
yeah, it was
Okay.
this morning, wasn't
Yeah,
it, that I
he told
talked
you
to him?
asked him if he's gonna be here tonight.
Yeah, he said he was gonna be here.
well, I hope, okay,
Yeah.
we'll move on. Chamber of Commerce, Becca Coble. Becca, is this your handout?
Yes, sir.
Okay, come right on up.
Good evening.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you all?
Good.
We're pleased to present the summary of our community involvement activities and how we've allotted $1,041.66 that we get monthly from you all and use throughout the year. Here's an overview of our key events and associated expenses. Ribbon cuttings, which we have 3 this month. The expense is the ceremonial ribbons and banners used. The purpose is to celebrate the grand opening of new local businesses, fostering economical growth, and supporting our entrepreneurial community. The Chamber Gala is something that we do once a year. The expense is the venue rental, catering, and event decorations. The purpose is hosting a formal event to recognize local achievements, provide networking opportunities, and strengthen professional relationships within our community. Our golf tournament is in June. Our expense is the course fee, the prizes, and the promotional material. The purpose is to organize a fundraising tournament that combines community engagement with support of local causes, enhancing both enjoyment and charitable contributions. Community night, which was the Springfield Cardinals game that we just did last night. The expense is entertainment and event advertising. The purpose is creating a vibrant and inclusive event that brings residents together for an evening of fun, food, and activities, thereby strengthening community bonds. Chamber Connect is something that we hold once a month, either in the morning or in the evening, and the expense is event advertising, and the purpose is creating events that bring business owners together with customers and help grow their relationships. We appreciate your continued support and look forward to further enhancing our community throughout these impactful events.
I think, I mean, for me, we do appreciate the chamber. I know the city gives, how much money now for the year?
$1,041.66 a month.
A month?
Yes, sir.
What I would like to see, Becca, is a revenue and expenditure of what you take in as revenue and what you spend as expenditure for the year.
Okay.
And I think the council, I think that's fair to say, the council puts in $12,000 or a little bit. I think it's fair to the council that you come back and show the council, we raised this much money, we
Okay.
spent this much money, as, just like the city does, a revenue and expenditure
Okay.
report. Council, any other questions? Dale, do you have a question?
I guess to add to that, you know, like a pie graph, you got dues is so much in your support.
Right.
So much is fundraiser, so much is our grant that we give them.
And how much is, you know, as far as expenses, you know, you have expenses and you have revenue. I just think, to be transparent with everything, I think that would be beneficial. This is what you do, and it's good, but if you had the ribbon cutting or the chamber gala, it cost $2,000, and we get $3,000 in tickets and sales and all this. We ended up, the revenue's this and expenditure's this, and this is what we get to put back into the bank account or whatever.
Okay.
You know, I think we've kind of talked about that before, but I think it would be beneficial for the taxpayers and us, because we do represent the taxpayers, to say, you know, the chamber does all this, here's what they get, and here's what they spend, and here's how they do it.
Okay. And you want dues on that also?
Yeah, like Dale, I think the
Okay.
pie chart, you know, you say you have, and I'm just saying $1,000, and you cut it into pies of how much is this and here's the
Okay.
total. I think that's very good,
Okay.
you know.
Alright.
You know, any other comments or questions, council?
You do a great job, by the way.
Thank
Yes,
you.
you are doing great, and I
job,
think it's
and
great.
I appreciate everything that you do for our community.
Thank you.
And it's
And
looking
that's
up
not
and good.
what this is about. This is about us showing accountability
understand.
to everyone.
Yes.
Okay, just
Do you
so-
guys want that for the next year's meeting, or do you want us to bring this in, like, because we do this like once a year, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
So do you want this
But
next
Beck,
year?
if
or
you wanna
want
just
it-
drop it off
Okay.
sometime.
I think it'd be
next
nice
year,
to
and then
drop
I'll
it off
just-
and
we
then
can
she-
just email it out.
Okay.
And add it to the admin minutes
Okay.
or something.
I'm a
Okay.
chamber board member, and
Yeah.
I
See,
can.
you got, see,
Drop in the bucket compared to what we
yeah,
actually
right,
spend.
and, I mean, you have not, there's a man right there who can fix you a pie chart and do all
Yeah.
that stuff.
Yeah.
You know, show the revenue and expenditure, okay?
Okay.
What's our total membership this year?
We are about 189, and it grows. I mean, we had 5 people join in the last month, so,
Well, we have a lot going on,
yes, we do.
exciting stuff
Yeah.
going on.
Which you're busy, I know, so
Yeah.
we appreciate it.
And I can also say, since Becca's took over, she's very new for the chamber, we have had more
Members,
than ever.
more
like,
percentage
before.
members, right,
She's
yes.
done more for this chamber than any of the previous that I've known of.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff.
Becca, thank you.
Thank you.
Very much, appreciate it. Pete, come right ahead.
I thought I started at 7, I'm gonna wait.
That's what I thought. I thought either the wrong day or the different time.
Feel me to pass these out.
Go right ahead. You have the floor.
Okay, I know some of you, about all of you probably know who I am. though some probably don't, but my real name is Lyman Proctor, but everybody knows me as Pete. And everybody knows, well, where Pete come from. My grandpa put that on me when I was 3 years old and it grew. And that's all I know. Okay, I'm going to talk to you about what we spend all this money on. I'm going to start out with the flag routes first. Because if it hadn't been for that, I don't know where we'd be at today. Because that is one of our best fundraisers we have got. Like this year, we got 208 flags scattered around town. And you take $35 a flag, which we're probably, it cost us right at $28 just for the pole and the flag itself. We're just making about $7. That's a little over $7,000. But that's one of our main fundraisers we have got. And like I say, we've got 5 routes. And when I first got involved in this in 2014, when Donnie Bunch got sick, they just had 89 flags on this flag route in 2014. And it just gradually kept going, and the residential has got into it. And we appreciate that. And I've got a good bunch of guys out there to help do it. Some of us are getting some age on us. Okay, for veterans, any veteran that comes through town and they get run short of gas money, we go and we give them a full tank of gas. We will not give them cash or nothing. I generally go right straight to the station with them. I pump it in myself and I pay with it our debit cards. And then if they have to spend the night, we pay the motel rooms for them and everything. And like just a couple here, about 3 or 4 months ago, I had a veteran. Had to go give him a tank full of gas, and we paid for it. And he had 2 little boys with him, just about yay tall. And he was short on money, and I pulled $30 out of my own billfold and gave to him for them something to eat on. So I've done that quite a few times. And any veteran that has a burnout, we make a donation to them to get them back on their feet. Here a few years ago out at Manus, we had a veteran out there, and he didn't belong to the post, but we went out there and we donated $500 to get him back on his feet, him and his family. Well, when I got to presenting that, there was somebody else walked up, and they matched what we donated to them to help get them back on their feet. Okay, on Boy State, we send boys up to Boy State, and that's $500 a piece. And this year they asked us for another $100 to help gas expenses. I send a bus down to Springfield and pick them up there and take them back to Warrensburg, backwards and forwards. So we're up $600. We generally send 2. And one year Norwood had 4. So we had to help Norwood out a little bit up there too. And then Highway Patrol Academy, we send them up, but we sent one boy up about 5 years ago, and after he got up there, they found out he was colorblind, so they refused him. But they sent our money back to us, which was $500. And 2 years, well, when the virus hit, we had a lady to go. Well, you know, all know him, Rob Cruz's daughter. We sent her up. She wanted to go up. Well, when the virus hit, well, they canceled out. Well, they sent our money back to us. We got it back. Then scholarship money, we give $500 to anybody who goes to teaching school. We give a $500 scholarship to anybody who goes to nursing school, through the school down here. And, okay, we get to go down to Van Zant area, local picnics. They always have us to come down there with the honor guard. We present the colors at 8 o'clock every night on Friday night and Saturday nights. We always make a donation to them, like $100 to them and $100 to the community building down there to let us come down. Well, we got a flagpole down there we donated, and it's got our marker and everything on it, what year we put them up and everything. And also there's another cemetery down there we donated a flagpole to, and we put our marker with it. And we also go up in Adam 4-H Club down there. We do the same thing. They present the colors every Friday Saturday night, somebody always sings the national anthem while we're presenting the colors. And the senior center, we always go out there on before Veterans Day. They invite us to come out. We always put on a program or whatever. We make a donation to them and also present them with a flag and everything. And I sort of made some notes. Sometimes I can't read them. Then when the kids park down here, we bought a marker, a brick for them. We donated that. And then when they put the Veterans Memorial up out there, when it first started, we made a $500 donation to them on that. And then plus we made another $300 here just a few years ago to help finish putting the medallions on there for all the service and everything. And then we just stopped all the mailing out all of our info from Jeff City to us. And it's been coming through and on my computer at home. But now we decided we're going to put a computer in the post. And we just now got through spending $1,500 on a computer setup, getting into our post and everything down there. And windows, we've got some single pane windows down there in the front. We're thinking about getting some insulated windows put in the building down there ourselves. That's going to cost us some money. I ain't got a bid on that. But 3 years ago, we had to have a complete roof put on that thing. It cost us a little over $10,000. That hit us pretty hard. Because the rubber roof that they had on it, whoever put that on there years ago, they spotted it in places. It wasn't put on there just exactly like it ought to be. We got this people up here at Norwood, they come and they sprayed that styrofoam. They're about 2 inches thick on it, and then they come back about 2 days later and put the membrane on it. He said, I'll guarantee you, you'll never have another leak in that building anymore. So it's pretty well took care of. And funerals, since 2014, I counted up, I've done just a little over 400 funerals since I took over from Donnie. And we have covered many miles. West Plains got put under quarantine when the virus hit. We had to cover the West Plains. We was the West Plains, Thayer, Alton, Birch Tree, Winona. We was all down in there, plus covering ours up here, plus Houston. We was covering for them, clear to Raymondville. And we've been to the Veterans Cemetery in Springfield twice, by request. One of them was George Anderson, the other one was Fred Glissant. We went up there and done both of those. And we get $100 per funeral. And us guys, I generally take 3 people with me. We try to take less vehicles we can. We try to team up. We do not use any of this money out of our budget. We pay for it out of our own pocket and our own vehicles and everything. And our membership, we've got just exactly 82 members to our post. Now, I know there's a lot of other veterans out there, but some of them just don't want to participate with us. Let's see. In the insurance on our building, found out, well, when I first got involved with Donnie, we found out we just had about $50,000 coverage on the building. I said, boys, that if something happened to the building, I wouldn't even think about even starting back where we was at. So we upped it to $100,000. It's costing us a little over $1,300 a year for insurance on that building down there. So, and I want to thank the city of Mountain Grove for supporting us veterans. And I'm just lucky to be standing here in front of you because I had a couple of close calls and matter of fact, I've got a roommate's name on that wall. Thank you.
Pete, that $100 that you guys get, that does not come from the family of the funeral. The Veterans Administration pays
Right,
that.
it comes from Jeff City. The National Guard pays that to us.
And it all goes you guys all go in your,
Right.
in your fund to do
They
that.
they automatically put it right into our account. So, like I say, that's where we spend all this money. And I just want to, the American Legion wants to thank you for supporting us veterans.
Pete,
We thank
we
you.
want to appreciate
thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Like I say, I've always said this, we lost a lot of good men over there for nothing.
Yeah,
Yes.
Well, okay.
thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right. Man, if you want to come on up. Did Crystal, she stepped out there? Okay. I know Gatlin's, he's vocal. Amanda is, I'll just let you tell them, you're moving.
Okay.
Tell us where you're
Yep.
moving and what's your
I
plan
am
is, okay?
moving to Mountain Grove Town. I wouldn't have a problem with the chicken ordinance as it is, but my children are allergic to chicken eggs, but not duck eggs, so I'm asking if I can have a variance to the chicken ordinance for that reason.
A little background, Amanda is Lonnie and June Ross's daughter, and I don't even know the street. What's the street your house is on that you're gonna be looking at? Long Street, okay. It, fenced-in yard,
Yes.
right, fenced-in yard, but due to the health issues with her children, that's why she's here. So,
Now, the way I understand it, we have had no complaints when it comes to chickens since we put in the chicken ordinance, am I correct?
That's correct.
Okay. My thoughts is, what's the difference between the chickens and the ducks? I mean, we have to look at what's the difference.
and there would be no
Really is-
male ducks, I mean,
Well, they don't, like, I know in town you can't have male chickens,
Right.
but they don't,
you don't need them, just like a chicken, you don't need
Right,
right.
you don't need the rooster to have an egg.
right.
Right.
Okay. So, and it's, how many, Ben, how many,
No,
how many chickens is it? 3, 5?
6.
When I
Six.
called, I was told 6,
Okay.
and they all
6.
need to be female.
Okay, 6, okay.
And you have a coop or something?
Well, I will make a coop according to the ordinance or whatever,
Right,
yes.
Right. I don't see any difference myself. I've had ducks, when I lived in the country. I've had ducks and chickens. I don't know what the real difference is.
If anything, I think ducks are quieter than chickens, but
They're quieter.
I think so.
They might be. They might be. What do we need to do?
I make a motion to allow the variance.
I second.
To allow her to have 6 ducks if she meets the.
Same as the chicken ordinance, the 6 ducks.
Okay, but let me back up again.
You mean,
So you want to allow just her to have this variance? You're not wanting to change the ordinance, correct?
conditional use?
It's just a variance for her,
variance.
yeah. So you want to
Well,
allow her to
that's-
have a variance, you're not wanting.
Do
to
we
change it.
want, it says variance to allow ducks, does that mean it's just a variance for her, or you wanting to
Correct.
change the whole thing?
If you wanna change the whole thing, we need to do a new ordinance.
Okay,
But if
well,
you
right
want to
now,
just
I
give
just,
her a variance,
right
then
now, I
you can
just
vote
make a
to just
motion to
do a
give her the
variance
variance.
for her.
Okay, you made the motion or Tammy?
I made it,
You made it, Tammy seconded.
Correct.
Okay, Martin, how do you vote?
yes.
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 No.
This is just for her ducks?
Yeah.
Correct.
And so what are the other people that don't like that gonna have to do? Maybe they want some ducks too.
You would have to change the ordinance to allow ducks for everybody,
Or do a variance for each one.
or have each one come individually to ask for a variance.
Is the reason they were left off like this so that they would come individually and we can
I
assess
think
it
the,
case
I
by
don't think there
case?
was, I just don't think that it was really thought about at the time. The issue was chickens, and they really just did the ordinance to address chickens.
From my
I don't-
understanding of talking to the animal control person, that's what was asked for, was for chickens, and that's why
Correct.
the rest aren't allowed,
I don't-
and that I needed to come
I don't
to ask.
honestly remember
Jamie was
anyone ever
here, she-
asking for ducks.
Yeah, I could- if
So
Jamie was
I don't
here,
think
that
it
was
was ever
part of it.
really addressed.
Exactly.
So,
There's really no difference.
I mean, it may be
Right.
something, it may be
Did we-
something you wanna look at,
The health
but that's,
concern is different than, just wanting them.
Did we not tell the lady over here off of,
Teresa, that she could not have them.
Did we not
That
tell
was
her
before.
That was
that
before
was
the
before
chicken
you did
ordinance
the
came
chicken
around.
ordinance.
That was before because she wanted chickens and ducks out.
Yeah, that was before you did the chicken ordinance.
Okay, Brenda, how do you vote?
No.
Carolyn?
Yes.
Okay, so we have, okay, you got it.
Okay, thank
You
you all
come in
very
and
much.
get, and,
But you'll need to go through the process
Process.
just like the chickens.
Okay.
Fill out the application and that kind of stuff.
Okay,
I know a good
Thank you.
carpenter would probably build you a duck house.
okay.
He'd probably love to, wouldn't he?
I don't know who you're.
Lonnie?
Oh, yeah,
Daddy.
let me build it for me.
Daddy.
Yeah.
I was gonna say,
Thank you all.
Daddy will be doing it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Amanda.
Thank you.
All right, Bill 2024-10, hoarding determined to be a nuisance.
This would just be first reading, so.
Do I have a motion, oops, I'm sorry, do I have a motion to proceed?
I got a question about it.
So, we
Go ahead.
don't really have, Mark had kind of brought this up to me, and obviously because of some recent events, we don't really have any type of ordinance that specifically addresses hoarding currently.
And it's not recent events, this is a problem that's been going on, but it seems to have gotten worse here the past few years. And what you're gonna end up doing is jeopardizing the firemen trying to go in, you're gonna, the occupants of the house are being jeopardized because they can't get out. I just think it's a good move.
But by having how is that going to bring those situations up before any faster than they are now? You know what I mean? Does that make
Saying,
sense?
how do we know about it and enforce it?
Well, you're not.
We write
Right.
tickets now, but we can't write a ticket because the law's on the books. Is that the situation, or?
I mean, it
we can't
depends on
enforce
where,
it and
because
clean up?
most of the time, they start piling junk outside
Yeah,
and
we see
stuff, and that
hoarding
usually
outside.
involves
Yeah,
the
that's an
neighbors.
indicator that.
That's an
the inside
indicator.
is-
Is
So,
hoarding an
does that
inside
give
term or
us
is
the
it an
right to
outside
go
term?
in
Hoarding
and
is
look at
just
it
a
if
term
we
that
are
covers
hoarding
both
outside?
Because it's inside
No.
and outside.
Not necessarily, but when you have police calls that go to a house and you find a lot of hoarding that is gonna make it dangerous for people to be able to get in and out of that house, then you're addressing it with an ordinance.
Okay.
Which is what Mark is referring to. When we have emergency personnel that have to respond and it's impossible for them to get in to help somebody or for those people to get out in an emergency, it would be good to have something on the books that addresses that. Now, if it's bad enough, like some instances that we've had recently, then you have reason to go in because of the pests and all the things that are happening, but we really need something to address it.
And since we don't have a health department that go in and do something, right, Mark? We don't. We
No,
don't
we
have a
don't.
county health department
No.
like they do, or a PETA, or not PETA, but dog thing or whatever, where, you know, where they have the dogs to come and get them and rescue. I mean, you need to have something kind of where you could, and maybe these people need a little bit of a push to kind of help them, you know?
Well,
Okay, my question is, and I know why we're here. I know why we got here, and things are changing in that situation. I see a lot, it looks to me like some things are changing. But we had a really bad situation, and we had enough rules in place to deal with it. What is this ordinance gonna give us that we don't have now? That's, I guess, my
It
question.
specifically addresses it. It specifically addresses hoarding.
But we addressed it when we saw it before. That's my question. What's the
Well,
difference?
But that was extreme, and it was to the point that the house was uninhabitable.
Is there a fee or fine schedule for this, or does this go to court, or what's the?
Yeah, it's still
what
gonna be,
happens after
it's
this
still gonna
happens?
be nuisance violations like Danny addresses now. Same thing. Larry, do you wanna speak to that a little bit? I mean, it would be handled the same way as our nuisance violations.
My only concern would be how we do begin enforcement. I think they're Mark's correct. The collections on the porches and that sort of thing is an indicator. I suppose that'd give us reasonable suspicion to inquire, don't you, Danny?
The thing is, we're not going knocking on doors looking
Right.
to search houses or anything like that. There are houses that we're called to, and the one that you're talking about is just one incident. There's multiple incidents.
I
where-
get that.
Where we walk up in the middle of the yard and you can smell the odor of the house from halfway from the street.
Right.
So,
I do get that. And I guess I want, so like if we pass this ordinance, how does that help you? What does that do for you in the future?
one of the things, let me address this part first. The council is very big, I mean, on the tall grass because of rodents and things like that.
Right.
I can promise you, you're getting more rodents from a house like this
Right.
than you are from any field that you're getting.
Right, I get that.
So,
Well, it gives you a starting point
It
to
does
kinda
give us a
go in
starting
and
point.
say, can we kinda
you know,
help you?
we get zero
services?
help from the senior service division.
Exactly.
You know, we have to hotline all those calls. This gives us a criminal charge, if you wanna call it a criminal charge, to help with that hotline, because, I mean, something has to be done now.
It also gives you the ability to refer the people to organizations that will help them.
Exactly, right.
Well, we
Learn
all
how to
have
deal
that
with it.
ability. It's called the hotline call.
And well,
Right.
this ain't to the state or nothing, it's private organizations. It's not nothing to do with the state. If you're gonna call the state over something like that, you're wasting your time, cause I've done it, and it don't work.
Well, I did home health care for 30 years, okay? 30-plus years. I don't think you could shock me with anything. But I also worked for a very prestigious person in our community that was a furniture hoarder and food hoarder. I mean, like antique gorgeous furniture. You couldn't get a gurney down that hall, you know, and it had to be dealt with very seriously. But she was a hoarder. But hoarder is a mental disorder.
And that's what I'm saying, they can get help.
If we
through
pass this ordinance, this could help
This,
them get
this will,
help.
this will allow us to get information and get stuff that will allow us to pass out to people and say, you know, you might check into this or whatever.
So it also gets us in front of the judge, who can also help recommend to the courts some type of help. Because I mean, you know, you're talking about mental illness, that's one of the biggest shortfalls that we have right now is the mental illness part of it.
Right.
Not just in hoarding, but suicides and everything else. We just don't have the help that we need. And if we can get them in front of the judge, that does help us because there are programs that the state can offer or the courts can offer.
And having this will help you do that.
Yes. Again, we don't want to violate civil rights. We don't want to just go in on, it will be situations where we're called to a place with obviously an issue.
Right. If I start getting roaches or lots of things that I don't think are coming from out, you know, the field behind me or whatever, rodents, then what happens?
Well, here's the thing, Tammy. You know, I gave you our numbers this month. I give you our numbers every month. You know, we average anywhere from 850 to 1,000 calls a month. We don't have time just to go look for houses like this to say,
Right.
let us knock on your door and see what problems we can cause you.
Right.
This has got to be specific, this has to be a specific call that we are called to, and there's an issue that, just like the one that you're talking about, when, you know, when that came to light, I mean, we had to do something. And,
Exactly.
and we really had nothing that we could really do.
But somehow you got it done. I guess that's the point I'm having, and I'm not trying to argue
Right.
or anything, I
Right, no,
promise.
and I understand.
I'm just saying somehow you did get it done. So somehow we did have enough rules in place to get it done, because it's happening, if you haven't been over there.
Because we were looking to condemn the house at that point. It was that
Right.
bad.
Right. And this is more about getting help. You can get more help instead of being like, we condemn your house.
Before the house is the point of condemnation, yeah.
Is that what?
So, I mean, we're talking about, really, you're talking about an extreme that you're thinking of, that, you know, that we were able to do something with a little bit.
Right.
But it's absolutely, I mean, there's no way you could have gotten to that house.
Right, right,
I couldn't even get there because of the odor.
right.
So,
I've been in some of them.
So when you have a house like that, right now, what do you do?
I had to call Clint because I don't have the authority to condemn a house.
So,
And the thing about that is some of these houses, most of the houses that have hoarding do not meet the condemnation.
Correct.
right. So that's the thing, what do you
No,
do
they're not
then?
junk
Who
houses.
do you
I mean,
call?
they're just people
Right,
that
like
got
this
stuff.
one, it's
Yeah,
not a junk house.
yeah.
You know, so you don't call hoarder busters, you know, or something like that. I mean, who do you, what's the recourse? Just say, oh, well, go ahead and do what you're doing.
But, you know, I understand, I don't want government overreach either. I mean, that's the last thing we want to do, so.
And, you know, that's a biggie that I hear from the people I represent. you know, is that we got enough rules. We've got enough rules to invasive in their lives, you know, but I also get it. I mean, we can't have, that thing went up in smoke, it'd go up quick, and it would affect all the people around them, and I do understand that, I do. I just wanna make sure if we're gonna make any more rules, that it's absolutely necessary, and it's not covered some other way, other rules we already have.
Again, I'm not telling you your job, because my job's to enforce them, it's your
Right.
job to make them. So it's
Right.
up to you guys what you guys decide you wanna do.
I have two questions. Is there a difference between a junkie house and a hoarder house?
For sure.
Yes. A junkie house is a structurally compromised house that is not livable. A hoarder house is a livable. You can have $1 million mansion and it can be a hoarder house just by all the stuff that's in there.
So you're saying the word junkie house is construction, not,
Yeah.
not all the clutter outside and inside, lawnmowers and
Mm-mm.
boxes and
No.
pizza and everything?
Yeah.
Okay, then what's the penalty for hoarding it? I mean,
We'll
is there
have
a
to
structure fine, or is there a, or
I mean, I don't think it would be much different than the fine schedule that we have set up now.
how big of a hammer
have
are we
to-
hitting this with?
I think we have up to a maximum of $300 we can fine.
Right. It depends on how many times they get ticketed. I think it
We
starts
usually do
out,
an incremental kind of thing.
yeah.
First offense is treated differently than the third or fourth offense.
I
Well,
think
Larry,
it's, I
don't-
think the
if-
maximum is 500, but I think it starts out as a $150, $200 fine, and
I'm
then
not
it,
sure on that.
And usually when
Depending
they
on
go to
how many-
court, doesn't the judge, sorry Becky, doesn't the judge give them time to, 30 days clean it up or something?
Lots of times, yeah.
Does this trickle down to a landlord? Because I know in Tall Grass, they always send me a letter, not my renters.
it goes to the homeowner.
So I get a hoarder
Mhm.
violation for them not cleaning their.
When we send out nuisance violations, it goes to the property owner that's listed with the county, correct? Yes.
Does this have to go to the homeowner and not to the tenant?
Is gonna go to the homeowner, because that's how we have to address it. Then they, if they've got it rented, they can handle it with their renter. But our notifications have to go to the owner.
But I can't give it to Bank of America, let them take care of it for me. I have to take care of it.
You have to take care of it. I mean, it depends on what your lease is with them. I mean, then you can go from
Yeah,
there,
I
but,
can't make a lease, make people clean house and lease. I
but
can,
it
but it
is,
doesn't work.
but for us, we have to, our notices, because we do certified letters and everything, has to go to the property owner.
And Dale, would that be I mean, if I'm living in your house and I'm a hoarder and you get the notice, is that a way to get me out?
I don't know, Danny might know, because he's property manager, he's more official probably than what I am.
You can evict anyone for any reason, you just have to go through the process.
But it takes how long to get them out?
It can take 90 days.
Yeah,
And you only got 30 days to clean it up.
but it's just.
I mean, is that what
Can
you're
you-
saying by
I
the?
mean, I've been in houses, I just had one turned over in my lap 3 months ago that just took your breath away. We had to take the sheetrock off and throw it all in the dumpster because it was,
That bad?
oh, yeah, they just had, it's like every plate, every food, every dish had been there for 3 months in the carpet, and you walked in and gagging, and we had the roaches and the fleas, and we bombed it 3 times, exterminator once, or twice, and
Then they wonder how come the deposit is so high on things.
well, usually the deposit's only 1 month rent, but, you know, it's still, it's just, I got hit. And I knew it a year before, but I thought, you already damaged it. Just hang here a little bit longer until I get time to get to you. And they went and moved out in the middle of the night.
Well, this ordinance is first reading, so if you want to move ahead with the first reading tonight, you have
Yep.
time.
I'd
until
make a
next-
motion to go with first reading.
Second.
Motion to approve, proceed, motion second? Yes, sir, I'm sorry.
Before you do that, I got one question. I haven't seen it, I've been told that there are some houses in Mountain Grove that have dog feces that thick in their house. Why do we allow that? Is there something we can do about that? I mean,
To
that's
me, it's a
just,
health and safety violation, but,
Till you get called,
Gotta
or you
get
can't.
reported, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
we can
to
hotline
take
it. If there's
action
kids in
on
the house,
it.
we hotline it. If there's others in the house, we hotline it. But
But until it gets reported, if it's just
we just
hearsay.
hear about it,
Yeah.
is that part of it right there?
Well, there again,
okay,
people don't want regulations, but my goodness, something needs to be done.
Gotta be done.
Something has to be in their process where you can say, folks, you can't have,
How will this help with that process though? Because he's talking about social services and, making hotline calls. What does this do?
So if there's children in the home,
Right?
that's a criminal
Right.
charge.
Sure.
So we can go endangering the welfare of a child.
Exactly.
But
Same with
an
adults.
adult living there on their own, it's a little tougher to make a criminal case.
but once it goes to court and they have to stand in front of a judge and talk about it,
Right.
and that would maybe get the stuff rolling.
But does this give us access to that home?
I've not read that. So as far as me just going and beating on the door and saying, I demand to come in, absolutely no. I do not. You can refuse a search all that you want to, and that's your constitutional right. If there's constant complaints, we can always apply for a search warrant to make sure that we have enough probable cause to enter inside of the house that would have to be signed off from a judge.
And can you do that now?
No.
But if we pass this ordinance, you could do
I
that.
said no, I shouldn't have said no. It depends on the certain situation there's many factors that would have to go, I can't just answer that yes or no.
Okay.
So,
Sorry,
Okay.
Brad.
Is there no way to write this where it doesn't fall back on the landlord versus the people who actually committed the crime?
so, is it okay if I address? Like if I sent you a letter and you said, hey, I'm just the landlord, I don't live there, these are the people that live there. We would go and try to make contact, just like if you had a vehicle that ran a bus arm, had a bus arm violation, you said, I wasn't driving, Webb was. We're gonna take that up with Webb even though it was your vehicle. So.
Because you have to get permission from the owner to go to the house.
No, I don't have to get permission to go to the house.
Okay.
But if I understand that Dale's not the one that resides there and Webb does, then I'm gonna send my focus from you to Webb
Okay.
for the.
A lot of times you don't know who the renter is,
Right, because they won't answer the door for the
Yeah.
police.
But the
so,
water bill records will give us the,
Not
always.
no, there's a lot of landlords
Not
that pay the
always.
water.
I get that, yeah.
So,
Okay.
So,
Direct you to
Yeah.
the tenant.
I'm just using scenario. Let's say Danny comes to my house.
As a police
I've
officer?
been, yes,
Okay, as a police, okay.
and he's gonna serve me with papers, but I'm not there, but he's kinda looks in the window and here my house is just. What do we do in that scenario?
I'm gonna send them a letter, if you guys pass that ordinance, to discuss the hoarding issue.
Yeah, which is,
Dog
yeah,
thesis is hoarding.
If I can see it or smell it, that's,
yeah.
I'm gonna try to do something.
Which
with it.
I think which is a good process to give them aware and say, hey, can we help you get this
I'm
taken
for
care of?
it.
All right, we have a motion and a second to proceed. Becky, would you read it?
Yeah, let me read it up here. An ordinance amending section 24-3, adding dangerous accumulation hoarding as a nuisance violation within the city of Mountain Grove, Missouri. Hoarding is defined as the compulsive and/or dangerous accumulation of objects, goods, possessions, animals, or similar items.
Okay, we had a motion and a second to proceed. All in favor to do that?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, now motion to approve.
Motion.
Second,
Motion and a second. Becky, would you read it?
An ordinance amending section 24-3, adding dangerous accumulation / hoarding as a nuisance violation within the city of Mountain Grove, Missouri. Hoarding is defined as the compulsive and/or dangerous accumulation of objects, goods, possessions, animals, or similar items.
Okay. All in favor? We need a voice vote on these? Voice, Webb?
Yes.
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 No.
yes.
And
Dale,
the
would you-
second reading will be on the next
Okay.
agenda.
Dale, would you check others, see how if somebody
This
else
is-
has that?
Well, I was reading through this, and I was before the meeting came, but I just,
Check other towns and see if
This is
they've got something.
structured, this is structured after.
They
a
do
vote.
have other
I guess it's
towns.
probably copy and paste.
It's
something.
pretty
Okay.
much, it's pretty much standard.
I just notice a lot more burdens on me all the time. I'm like, man, what I,
Yeah.
and I gotta deal with how do you get people out of the house, or how do you get taken care of?
Can't, I mean,
I've
I don't
had
know,
to pay people to leave.
can you write a lease, if I sign a lease to rent your house, that if I do this or this or this, I can have to be out in 30 days? Or is
I
that
don't think you
state?
can write a lease strong enough to protect you.
Oh, okay.
I mean, that's Larry, that's what he thinks, but I don't think there's,
But if I heard him right, Dale,
huh?
if I understood it right, I'm living in your house, you get the letter, you call Danny and say, Danny, Webb lives in that house. They come to me, it's the hassle's off of you at that point.
Is that true? I can just,
See,
cause I know
If
what there's,
there's a fine administered and they don't pay it, then does it come back to him?
no,
Okay.
cause I don't wanna
No, because if we
jeopardize,
issue
you
summonses,
know, 25
it's gonna go
property
to-
owners in town with all this.
no, all you gotta do is tell them who lives in that house.
Okay, that's good.
I thought you said it's gonna go to the homeowner. Wait a minute, that's
At first,
It
and
will
then
go
he can
to
say,
the-
I don't live there, it's not my junk.
Gotcha,
We
sorry.
do,
All right.
and a lot of our nuisance violations are that way right now. I mean, with
Right.
tall grass, we don't know that it's a rental or not, and we end up contacting them, and then like,
You kinda look to the landlord for help.
But don't we have a list of the rental places? Don't they have to have a deal?
There's several in town that don't
Don't do that.
comply to that.
The only way we catch them usually that they haven't complied is when somebody comes
try
in
to
to
get
get
their
water
water.
service, we don't turn on
And
water until we do
now
an
then, I
inspection.
found during my last couple of years working that a lot of landlords have started paying the water bills because their property just won't pass. So in order to get around that, they'll pay the water bill for them.
Yeah.
So if everybody, we wouldn't have to have this if everybody, oh, okay, all right.
You don't want overreach, but you gotta be between here and here, and if.
Well, I mean, if you live in,
Yeah.
I mean, if you live in
Yourself.
town, there's certain
Gotta help
rules,
you.
you know, but, okay. Property lease on West First Street. Becky?
Okay, so, Mr. Mincer had come in, and you have pictures there. You guys are familiar with the building that he's talking about. There's actually 2 buildings there that he purchased. He has plans to put some businesses in there. And the building that is on the east side, he is planning on putting an ice cream, frozen yogurt, that type business in there. And the other side of the business, his wife has the Naked Chicks sodas that's made with the honey. So he's planning on using part of the building on the west side. They're gonna have some of that inventory in there. And then he's got some plans, future plans for that side. On the side that he has the ice cream parlor in, he would like to do a wooden deck, which you guys have seen the pictures of there, on the side between him and the bank property, which that property there is an easement that belongs to, or not an easement, but property that belongs to the city. There's a drainage ditch that comes down through there, so this deck would be built over that. Clint, would you like to talk to the council about, I mean, Clint has been over there and looked at it. Obviously, Mr. Mincer would have to work on the concrete that's in the drainage ditch, along with having the deck put up to code. What he's looking for is some type of lease agreement with the city on that property to be able to put the deck there, is what he's wanting.
Hey, that third and fourth picture, where he's got that looks pretty good.
Is that drainage ditch that's currently there, is the water running through an existing pipe, or is it just?
It's concrete open area.
Concrete square, yeah.
So it's just
It's a concrete.
flowing openly?
He'll have to do some repair to it, right, Clint?
So I actually talked to him this afternoon about it, and, he's.
Clint, why don't you come up?
Come on up here.
So he's in complete agreement with, so if you look at this picture, this one, you can see how it kind of butts up against that asphalt parking lot there. I talked to him this afternoon about it. He said that he is more than willing to put in the square concrete tubes all the way down. And he'll also have, whether he closes in that front side or not, I mean, this is a drawing. But if he closes it in, I've already told him, you know, we could deem that as like a special amusement area. It's an open air, basically just a patio, but it'll follow every requirement of the International Fire Code and the International Building Code. where he would be able to just put the deck part on top of that concrete that he is willing to put in.
He's gonna start from the front of the building and go all the way back with new concrete.
Yep.
He'll need to have, coming off that parking lot, I need to have a place to allow the water to come in off the parking lot, right?
Correct.
And it's
Yeah.
concrete, it's not.
Yeah, it's
completely
basically
closed.
like a road runoff,
Yeah.
the little
Burn
drainage.
type thing or something.
Yeah.
Hey, I
Um,
think that,
That's gonna improve,
What-
it looks
you need
tremendously,
a
all it
kid
does
that's-
is grow weeds now.
you need a kid.
Well, that concrete is something we're gonna have to work on
Yeah.
before long.
Well, that's what I was thinking, because if there's two there, you got surface water from the side.
Yeah, and then it runs up under the
So there's a
street.
grate right there
Yeah.
that can't contain it all on the heavy rains.
Correct.
It goes underneath in the square
Right.
tubing.
Correct.
So if you guys approve this, he'll basically tie into the one that's coming from under the street and do those concrete squares like we did over on front.
Mhm.
And,
Yeah, because the back side is, or the north side is damaged.
yeah, and, but it'll, I'll make sure he has a clean out for it, and that way if something gets stuck in there, it'll have a manhole cover that he can lift part of the deck up to get in there and clean it out. It'll be blocked off, so.
Well, hallelujah that we're doing something with that. I don't wanna call it
So-
that name anymore, but
Eyesore.
thank goodness that
Well-
the eyesore is getting better.
Well, I also, a couple of months back, called and had that old cable pole that was just kind of swaying in the wind there. I called Cable American, they took it out for us. So, I mean, I've been working on this, and
If council is
Trying to figure
in,
it out.
I mean, if you are in favor of doing this, then I would just get with Larry and we would come up with a lease agreement with Mr. Minzer, for council's
And
approval.
have him go over specifics of what he's gonna do.
Well,
Right.
the
That'd be
specifics
great.
in the contract would go along with what he was talking about, that it would have to be brought up to code, he would have to make the improvements on the drainage ditch. I mean, we would outline all of that. But
Right.
bottom line, once you say it has to be brought up to code, that means he'll have to meet with whatever our building inspector
I think
says.
that'd be wonderful.
We're gonna lease it for $1 a year or some kind of nominal number.
That's up to the council, yeah.
Aren't we saving a lot of money here
Mhm.
on fixing all?
I think it's a no-brainer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we are. Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, I move we move forward.
May I
Yes.
ask a question
Yes.
first? Chief, what is, I'm just looking, so what's going to be in between if people are parking there? Like, how much space is in between
The bank parking lot?
the
He's
bank
got a
parking
fence.
lot?
He's got
I
a
haven't
fence.
measured it,
I mean,
but
can somebody jump, I'm just thinking of the safety
Well,
of
and-
the customers sitting there. It just looks like it all runs into each other.
I mean, honestly, if you think about it, it's like people pulling up to any other store here in town, Country Mart or whatever, you can jump a curb real easy.
Yeah, so,
Um,
so it does.
It's got those parking curbs. I mean,
Yeah, I can
if
see
you
that.
want it set back a little bit, I can have them put in those bollards to keep,
It probably
Like-
wouldn't be
like
a
at
bad
Walmart.
idea to think about.
I mean,
putting-
how many of us
Yeah.
go by there, how many of us actually see people parked on that, in that little parking lot? I don't
But you
hardly ever see
may,
one.
if he really does do this and has that area, you're probably gonna see people after banking hours parking in that.
parking in that parking
Because
lot,
that's the
yeah.
only place they're really gonna have to
Yeah.
park, right?
Yeah.
Didn't
Well,
we shut down that
that is
alley
across
back
the street.
behind there?
But I mean, they'll probably park
We
there.
shut the alley down behind there. We're not allowing any.
There's not, nobody drives through there.
I guess there's
And
an
then Ben
opportunity,
owns
I
the
guess.
property
Is
back
it?
behind
I don't know
there.
if I'm allowed to say anything or not, but is that, the actual ditch is the old alley, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it is part of, yeah, that and
You
right
haven't been
behind,
driving on it for years.
yeah, no, there's not been
It's
anybody
rough.
driving
Dad's
on it.
got gas lines down in it and everything else.
Right, okay. So,
Okay, what else? Anything else before we,
So what I'll do is just, if you're in favor of it, I'll just go ahead and work with Larry and we'll come up with a lease agreement and then bring it back for council approval.
do we need a motion and a vote? and everything?
If you want a motion to move
Dale
ahead
made-
with the lease
Dale
agreement, I
made the
think.
motion.
Who made, Dale made the
Dale.
motion, have a second?
A second.
Second by Brenda. Mark, how do you vote?
Yeah.
Yes.
yes.
Yes,
Yes.
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 Okay,
You guys
thank you,
need
sir.
any more?
Real ice cream.
Yogurt, he said frozen yogurt.
And Becky has some lead and copper information she wants to give us.
Okay, so, we are currently under orders, but everybody in the state is, that we have been for a year now. We have to have it all complete by October 16th. So not only do we have to inventory our lead and copper lines, but we have to inventory every line under every house in town. Every business, every house. We have to know what the age of the house was, what the lines are going into the house, and all of that information is being sent in to DNR. The guys,
October the 26th?
16th. It's been, we were told this a year ago, and it all has to be complete by October 16th, and the guys are really working hard to try to get it finished. It's not an option to not have it ready. It's not an option. We have to have it done.
How much is a fine a day if you don't?
I don't wanna know, cause we're not gonna do that.
I know, we don't, it's expensive.
We're not gonna do
90%
that.
complete on the list?
Do what?
Are you 90% complete?
We are not 90% complete, but we're getting there. So the part of town that has the most of that, we are finished with. We're now in the part of town that has mostly newer stuff, so it's gonna go pretty fast on that part, or so the guys are telling me, so.
Who's in charge
What's
of
the
that? Who's in charge of
process?
that?
I'm just curious, what do you
So
have
there
to do
is
to
a-
figure this out?
So there's a Diamond Map program, which Bobby can talk about it a little more, but the Diamond Map program, basically, it shows, they basically map out all of the lines in town, and then they have to designate how much of those are lead, where they're at. The biggest part is they have to actually, on the houses, they have to actually go look under the houses and find out what kind of lines.
And how you gonna look under a house that has a basement?
It's been a process, I'm telling you. These
Have they
guys,
been to
Nobody's
my
been out
house?
to my house yet.
Have they been to my house?
I don't know, I'll have to look
So I'm
on the
curious,
list.
because I was like, nobody's been at my house, we put a house all underneath our house.
And if they, once
Yeah.
they got the dates from the county on so the county maintains a database of when your house was built. And
Yeah.
so when they got the dates of a lot of those houses that have been built, that's a good place to start, because houses of a certain age, about all of them have some type of lead.
I don't have any lead, but I got copper.
Just to show you what these guys have been doing, they have been kicking.
This should be interesting. My
This
house
has
was
got
built and
every
moved.
manhole
Yeah.
labeled,
Yeah, I
every
So-
water line.
How long ago, Tammy?
And
this is the Diamond
In the
Map?
70s, it was moved from the Free Will Baptist Church parking lot.
I-
Bill says it wasn't, but I know it was.
Oh, I remember well.
I
Remember,
fully,
it was moved.
I watched it go down the road.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
fully expect that after we do all of this, I'm sure there's going to come some guys, because once we get to the October 16th date, then we have another month to notify every homeowner that we found lead going into their home. Once that list also goes to the state.
And the homeowner's gonna be responsible for?
I don't know what the homeowner will be responsible for yet, because that information goes to the state.
Every other town.
It's the entire state, it's not just.
So the red is done, is that the red?
Yeah, they've already done,
Okay, so
they've been working.
we'll have another update next month.
So I'm sure DNR is gonna come out with some regulations after this has all been completed, but we haven't seen those yet. Okay.
Okay, we're gonna be done by 7:30.
I'm already worried.
City Hall bids for soffit and fascia. Becky?
We didn't get any.
We didn't get any bids for soffit and fascia, so if anybody knows anyone that is in doing that kind of business, we need to get something, because it needs to be replaced. I don't know how many feet.
Like to get it done before winter time.
600 or 700, 800 feet, I don't know.
When we put the posts for the bids, how much information do we include?
Well, I mean, it was for, repair, replacement of soffit and fascia on City Hall building, and called and talked to me for more information, but I had one phone call regarding it. But it doesn't just go on our Facebook page, it goes to the bid list.
Right,
Everybody that has signed up to get bids, received the information,
Gotcha.
and
So I think that's a good reminder, that if you do any of that type of business, that you get on that list, so you
yeah,
get all the
how many
details
do we
right
currently
off.
have on our bid list, Bobby?
I wanna say the last one I sent out was like 60.
Well, 'cause I'm on it, and I'm not gonna be it,
Like
but
Was
I'm
it in the
on
legal?
They get it.
40, 50, what?
You didn't put it in the legals in the paper?
We haven't done that for quite some time. We usually put it in the,
Do Facebook and text like,
And if the people wanna, I mean, if you're a businessman, you should come to, if you want on the list, come to City Hall.
Yeah.
Okay, administrative report?
We'll go down through the list real quickly here. Some of it we've already covered, but,
Yeah, most
Twin
of it.
Cities Sewer Project, the project construction is about 70 to 80% complete.
What I saw last time, they were already at Eleanor.
They're pretty close to being done.
Yeah.
They'll have, an issue that we're working on right now, Sean's sitting back there and he knows, is when they put this in, we've gotta be able to get to it to service everything. And I don't think they have really thought about that in all the sites, because our guys, there's spots in that they can't get to with a truck. So we're working with the engineer right now on those issues. Lake Lily project, we're still waiting, you know, that's the project that the bids came in higher than what the budget was approved. And in fact, today I had to provide some more information to CDBG while they're trying to decide whether to give us the extra money. That's not been approved yet. Bulldog project, the notice to start construction has now been provided to Courtney. We have a pre-construction meeting with them. I think it's next week, Kim, is it? I think it's next week that we have that pre-construction meeting with them. So Courtney will be starting on that. Bush Street, the actual mill and overlay, because everything's gonna start shutting down for the fall by the time we get everything ready to do this. So it'll probably be spring before we actually do the mill and overlay on Bush Street and Maple Street. Final approvals on the grant cycle for Maple Street will probably be March or April. It's gonna be really pushing it to get that project done before the 95 widening project. Fire station, chief already commented on that, the open house. I did list for you there some of the certifications that Chief Gibbons has gotten. He has a whole list of qualifications before these, but this is just some of the ones that he's gotten since he came here as chief. And I just wanted to recognize that and appreciate his willingness to keep getting those trainings so that we can keep our people trained the best we can here. Ben's rezoning, we've already went through that. I still don't have, I talked to Aaron today, he said he was still waiting on some information back from his supplier. So when I talked to Aaron about, because the big commercial company is still trying to work me in their schedule to come here, but Aaron does smaller scale pools, but he said they use the liners like what a lot of the resorts and stuff use. So I asked him to get me some cost, just a ballpark figure of what it would be if we just started with just a basic liner, basic pool, what kind of cost that would be. And so he's trying to get that information together for us so that we kind of have a ballpark figure to work from. So Land and Water Conservation Fund, I've told you about that before. They have grants for pools. They're 50% grants. The grant cycle right now, they have one right now that is due November 14th. I don't know if we'll be ready to do that, because one of the things that I'm working on with LWCF is, I don't know how many of you were on here when, so our park system is listed as a Land and Water Conservation Fund park. When you accept federal funding to develop your park as one of those, you have to agree to maintain that as a public park with all that open area into perpetuity. So basically forever, it has to be maintained. Or you have to pay back the money that you have taken from them to help develop your park. Well, apparently over the years, we've taken quite a bit of money in developing that park area down there. When the senior center was built down there, it took up, you put an enclosed structure onto the park system, which was against the rules of Land and Water Conservation Fund. You can't have an enclosed structure because it's supposed to all be open park. If you do, you have to purchase land to replace what you've covered up with an enclosed building. So we purchased that property behind the group home.
Children's home or
The group home over there. We purchased that property. So I've been in contact with the Land and Water Conservation Fund people to get the swap, that hopefully we have enough swapped. So I'm having to get an appraisal done of the property where the senior center sits, and an appraisal done of the property that we just purchased. And the appraisal has to be similar in cost for them to approve us swapping that out for what we covered up. So I'm trying to get us back in the good graces of Land and Water Conservation Fund, because we can't get any grant money from them until we get that fixed.
Okay.
And going forward, when long after I'm gone, I told Kim, after I'm retired or whoever else is, they need to realize that they can't put enclosed structures down there on that park, on the footprint that we have currently, without going through Land and Water Conservation Fund to get some kind of an approval, because they don't want enclosed structures put on the park once it's been
So
approved.
this kind of land swap should have happened before
Correct.
that building was put on there.
Correct.
So you just want
At
to
the
get.
time
Long
the
time
senior
ago.
center was built, they should have done some type of land swap at that time.
Right.
Now, the land needs to be contiguous to the park, which we did. We bought land that joined it.
Okay.
So going forward, that may be a problem if you ever want to expand it, because you have the tracks separating you from property on the other side, and there's nowhere to go this way, really. You might, you'd have to annex in some property going the other way.
Is that considered, even though there's like train tracks that go across it, would that still be considered
You'd have to find a way to
contiguous like
connect
that?
it. You'd have to find a way to connect it, under the tracks or over the tracks. You'd have to connect it.
Oh, gosh. And we know how much an investment that is.
The railroad
We talked
would
about that.
not do that at all.
Wow.
So just going forward, some
Some
things that
things
you
to
need to know
be
going
aware
forward
of,
with
yeah.
the park system, that, we made an agreement a long time ago, taking their money, that we would maintain that.
Is this only the Cedar Center Park?
Correct.
Okay.
If you decide to put the pool down there, you're gonna have to keep that in mind on any kind of bathhouse that you would do. You could do something as long as it's open air with a roof, like we have the fairgrounds buildings. But it can't be an enclosed, other than just
Well, I
bathrooms.
think
So
we
we
just
gotta
started
have-
that talk then.
So just,
We gotta have bathrooms.
but some of the
They
things
can
you would
see
have
it
for a
too.
pool would be open air.
Right.
Yeah.
Your bathhouses generally don't have walls that go all the way
Right.
up.
So that's
Unless there was like a building, a joint structure that was like,
But those are things we would want Land and Water
True. Locker
Conservation
room.
Fund. If you are going through them
Right.
to help get grant money to do it, you're gonna get their approval before you do it anyway.
Yeah.
So
So
Outdoor
like,
showers.
like buildings that were already there, the pregnancy and health department,
Yeah.
the dog,
that was all part of
that's
it.
grandfathered in, 'cause they're.
Well, that was approved as part of the plan that
Oh,
was
it's
there.
part of the plan.
So there was an original plan that was put in for the grounds and what was there. They just never went to them to get an approval when they put the senior center down there. And at the time.
it was probably kind of assumed, looking at the other buildings that were out there
Well, and
maybe, or just.
At the time, the senior center burned. They were
Yeah.
looking for a place to go with it. People were displaced. They,
Yeah.
it was a nice flat spot, good parking. I'm sure it just wasn't thought about at the time. I'm sure there wasn't any intent on
How long
anybody's
how long has
part.
that been? That's been 10, 15 years, hasn't it?
Yeah, 2010 is when we built the new building down there.
14 years, yeah.
Is it? I thought it was longer than that. Okay.
2010.
All right.
So anyway, just something to think about going forward, and hopefully we'll have some kind of ballpark figures here to give you guys a starting point on what kind of money you're talking about, what kind of money to go after.
So can you clear up for me, I may have said something a few months ago that I didn't completely know. Do we have to pay prevailing wage whether we accept grant money or not?
No.
As a
If
city
you do,
government?
if you do grant money, you'll have to pay
So
prevailing
then
wage,
we'll just
because you're
have to
getting
compare 'em
federal money.
between the
But if
50%
we-
without.
Correct, but if we do it ourselves, we don't have
So
to
we
pay
can just get both
prevailing
figures
wage.
at that time and make a
Correct.
decision, okay. I thought that was the case said before, but then I thought I heard
Yes.
something in between that as a city period, we had to pay it if it
We do
wasn't our
not.
people building it.
We
Okay,
do not.
that's good.
Okay, tennis courts. The lights have been installed. We're putting a timer on the lights, so we don't have the issues of those being turned off and on and being left on. We had our yearly reports. We're going back to starting a new list. Our list that we had on the condemned housing, we had some outbuildings and stuff, and we're removing those because we started doing some code enforcement on the storage buildings, and I think most of those now have been addressed through code enforcement. Pretty sure, I don't think there's, and then even the commercial property down here on Third Street, they're even addressing it currently. So I think a lot of those have been addressed, so we're kind of reworking that list. We'll try to have that for you at the next meeting. West First Street, we discussed, City Hall bids. Masonic Lodge building, I did talk to the Quantrells about the contract on the Masonic Lodge building, because we started getting a lot of phone calls when people saw the sign go up in front of the lodge building, commercial real estate sign, because we thought the sale had already been done, but they said the sale is contingent on them selling the house that they currently have for sale on Oakland Street. So so they've put the sign up, I'm assuming in case that doesn't go through.
So if it doesn't, if these people don't buy it, does that nullify the,
No, what
No.
you
so
guys,
anybody can buy it
what you
and
guys
do?
voted to do was change it to R3. So they would not be able to, I did contact the real estate agent because he did put on the sign that it was a commercial listing. And I did contact him and I said, I just wanna make sure you understood that that was not changed to commercial property, it was changed to R3. And he said, yes, I understand that he was, that that's just what type of agent he is commercial property.
I apologize, I'm gonna have to.
She's got
Okay. Be careful, thank you.
They seem to have left that part out.
Yes, yeah, that, yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah.
Is it the blue siding house, you think, that been
Yes.
fixed up?
Yeah, that was not mentioned at the meeting.
The one out here,
It ought to sell, I guess I don't know the price.
which street's that on, Bush?
Oakland.
I don't know what the price is, but
Oakland.
I did see
Or
the,
Maple ones, Oakland or Maple.
Oh, it's
it's on,
It's
Oak- it's on
Oakland.
Oakland, it's on the
Yeah.
corner of Oakland. I mean, it looks like it was really
Yeah.
well restored. It's
Oh, the
nice.
two-story house?
Yeah.
Oh,
Got
okay.
blue
Got it.
siding on it. yeah.
Yes, I didn't know they owned that.
I did
I mean,
know
I
that
think
was the one
that-
got fixed up.
I think the evening we did it, it was more cause they talked like it was, I mean, they said that if we didn't go ahead and approve it that night, that they were gonna lose the sale on it, but
Yes, they said that.
But the sale is contingent on the house being sold.
So is the Masonic, if it sells, the Masonic Lodge gonna build one
So I
at
think
that
it,
property?
yeah, I think we would've had time to do like what Larry recommended, and that was send it back to the zoning board, because there would've been time for that to play out. But- So I just wanted to let you know about that, cause I'm sure some of you have probably gotten calls about seeing the sign go up. Water and Wastewater Professionals Week, Governor Parson has proclaimed the week of September 9th through the 15th as Water and Wastewater Professional Week in Missouri. The ones that we have on our staff that work in that area is Randy Delcor, Sean Smart, Sean McDonald, Dallas Toole, Jeff Iott, Jackie Redker, and Brooke Akers. And those guys do a great job for the city. I'm working on the announcement for the city shed. I just wanna make sure that I have the wording correct and that we're getting everything out there the way that everybody's bidding apples to apples, so.
When you say city shed, are you talking about
The one,
the highway on 95?
yeah, out,
Yeah.
replacing our shed for all of our equipment. Lift station alarms, that's not on my list, but it's something I need to talk to you about. I'm still in the process of getting information together. Sean's here and Bobby's here too. He's been in on these presentations. So on our lift stations, you really need some type of alarm system that will go directly to our guys so that they know when there's a problem that it has quit working, so we don't have spills. We currently don't have anything. There's an audible alarm. So unless you have somebody there to hear it, which the one on 17th Street, we generally get a call. Sean, where's the other one that we talked about? The one out at Country Living?
The one at Country Living, which you're pretty good at calling, and then the one down by the treatment plant, which,
Right.
until you come in,
We
you.
have a public comment that we missed.
It was just,
Sorry.
I thought it was just Amanda, I didn't know if anybody else did.
Oh,
Is
I
there-
just was asking that. I
Is
thought
there anyone
that-
else?
No,
Okay.
okay, sorry. I thought there was someone.
So we're gonna have to look at, I had a company, ACS, and it's what most of the towns around us are using. We have 7 lift stations, and it is $19,750 per lift station to install.
$140,000.
So what does this alarm indicate, just so I'm clear?
So, Sean, do you wanna speak to that a little bit?
What it does, say, if one of these lift stations overflow, we gotta be there to clean it up, making sure we shut it down and all that. Right now, we have no way to tell, until the next day we show up.
Right.
These will let us know instantly, hey, there's something wrong with your lift station, you get out there and look at it, get fixed and all that.
Okay.
So what they do is they monitor it, but it also, so they come in, they put a control cabinet in. We have a SCADA system on our wells right now. And so Randy can actually control those wells from his phone, basically. You know, if something needs to be turned down or whatever.
And it's the same company that is.
Yeah, it's ACS is the same company that they did. It provides the cellular communications, all the necessary wiring, hardware, to control and monitor the equipment. Puts an HOA switch position, running state, contractor overload, pump overtemp, seal leak if available, runtime hours, start counter, float operation, three-phase power status, and wet well level. It adds a submersible level transmitter to monitor wet wells. I mean, it adds screens. What is the screens part of that, Sean?
Yes, the screens are part of that, they'll hook everything up.
Explain to them what the screens are.
Oh, the screen is just where you can, it'll show you like the hours of what your pumps are, so say we get one that, all our pumps we replace them, it tells us how many hours we're getting out of them, say, if we're getting 2 years out of one, but then all of a sudden we're just getting a year out of them, it'll let us know. We can, it shows the levels inside the wells itself, so, stuff like that.
Also, like the pump temperatures, if the pumps are getting hot, we know there may be an issue.
So is this a initial fee plus so much a year? Do we have to pay for what we have for Randy to use? Is
I
it?
think so, but I don't know much.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I'm sure there's a fee every year for updates.
There is, I don't have it on this paperwork. I don't know the answer to that. I'll have
One
to
thing
get
I
back to you
can
on
say
that.
about this company is anytime we've had any issues, they are on the ball, like they are,
Well-
this is one of the best companies we've had.
And
But
the way DNR is now,
Yeah.
I mean, you have one little deal, you could get a fine of more than $20,000, boom.
Yes.
Is there competitors in this company compared to?
Yeah, but there's not any,
Because this is outside our budget lines, right? We gotta-
yeah, this is
we
gonna be
gotta
Well,
outside.
that's kind of my,
So what-
it seems like we're going to like
Well, what I-
all the bells and whistles. So I wonder if there's anything in between.
What I would like to propose is that we can't afford to do all seven of our lift stations. But there's 2 lift stations that are of major concern, and that's the one on 17th Street, and the other one that Sean mentioned.
Yeah, the one down the treatment.
Is that
treatment
because of
plant is a
volume or because
huge
of
one.
age?
I was gonna say, I think
Both,
the treatment
and because
plant-
of the amount of
Someone
people
to
that's in that area, the
It's the
use,
flow to them.
the flow to
More
them is
residents or more
heavier.
customers in
If we started with 2, we can always add on to this system. We don't have to do them all at one time.
there? Can we
I
have
would-
more things to look at?
Yes,
Compare?
well, we are, but I needed to get this, I needed you guys to kind of get the sticker shock of what this is and what we're looking at, and Sean and I are trying to figure out where we're gonna budget this at. But it's, going forward, it's something that we're gonna need to look at to keep us under compliance with what DNR wants us
You
to.
think DNR would give us a grant?
I don't know, I talked to several other communities that have these same type systems, and they didn't have any grants for any of them.
And basically,
It's hard with these companies to get apples to apples, because you have ACS that's like the Cadillac of, but they also, when you talk to other communities, they're like, you don't want any other company but ACS. We've tried other companies.
What,
They're
and
the best.
ACS is
And
the
what
one
you're gonna-
that's,
That's what we are.
That's what we
Yes.
currently have for our wells.
and what
And
you're
this-
gonna run into is you start buying from this company, buying from this
Yes.
company, you've got a Frankenstein operation that you can't get nothing done with.
You can't make Microsoft
Right.
and Apple.
Yeah.
Right.
Bobby, can you put cameras on them that you can Wi-Fi?
This is a lot of, mostly like preventative maintenance stuff, so you guys all know what the lift stations are, right? They're what pump all the sewage.
Yeah.
to the waste.
But I'm saying, can you put a camera down there, if there's one there that Sean can access by his phone?
But you're not gonna
Here they
know
are.
when that
Yeah.
submersible lets us know when that starts overflowing, cause what we get into trouble is when it starts overflowing.
You could
and then you
see
gotta
like
clean.
it's already overflowing, but you won't.
You'd
know
have to
it's
keep
what-
checking.
You won't know that the pump has quit working, or if there's an issue with
Until it's
it.
running down the street?
Right.
If there's an audible alarm, we put, it's
got a speaker on the camera, right? That's what you're saying?
And then it's already too late.
Oh, it's
See,
too
our
late.
problem out here, especially when I'm a treatment plant, it runs everything from Walmart that way. And it takes it to that one, whether it's out there in the middle of nowhere where nobody hears the alarm, I mean,
Yeah.
there's nobody to call.
And the alarm is still kinda already after the fact,
Yeah.
right?
We can
So
hear the
this,
alarm
these
through the-
alarms, all the bells and whistles are gonna help us get ahead of it, so
and
that
preventative
before
maintenance.
it's
Yeah.
at dire situation.
I mean, when
we're
we talk
addressing.
about upgrades to our treatment plant and the
Yeah.
things that need to be done, this is just a tiny minute.
Drop in the bucket, what's gonna
So
cost.
when you talked about, cause you had said that it, DNR, right, is gonna, or has requirements for us to meet, and
We're doing the minimum of what DNR requires us. But what we get into is, once you have a spill, then that gets us into a whole other thing,
Right.
having to, so this is not a requirement that we have to have this.
As of
with
yet.
DNR, as of yet.
is kind of the
What we're,
idea.
but you know, part of the ACS is kind of what Bobby was saying is, a lot of times we don't know that we have a pump going bad until it's done.
Yeah.
And then we're in a bind and we've gotta get a pump and we've gotta get, and then we're figuring out how to manually go run this stuff until we get a pump here. Where this is gonna let us know before we start having those issues. If there's runtime issues, if there's how many hours is on it, you know, all those kinds of things. I know it's a lot of money,
But it's just a cost.
And you
of
said we
doing
have
business.
7, right?
but we need to start with, I would like to start with 2
2.
if we move ahead with it. Once we kind of figure out where we can take it out of the budget, I would like to start with 2 and then.
Kind of
go
make a
from there.
plan, like so many
Well, I
per
was
year.
kind of hoping maybe if we go with this plan to get, to do the bond financing and do all of our phases at the treatment plant, maybe some of the rest of it could be tied into that and we can include it in the grant.
Okay, yeah,
Is this
that.
a 200 department expense?
I'm sorry,
Is this a 200 department expense?
correct.
I think we really need to
The
work.
only other way you can, the only other place that you can take it out of is you can do it out of 600, which is capital improvements.
I think by next budget, I think we really need to try to create us some margin, cause we're just stretched. And when,
Yeah.
cause things like this are gonna come up every year.
Every year.
And
We
we've
did
gotta
leave
do
money,
better on that.
we did leave money in 600
Yeah.
for this type of stuff to come up. We did not budget all of 600 because we knew there'd be things come up. And generally, no offense, Sean, but the big ticket items always happen in his department.
Sure.
Right.
You know, it's just the way it
If
is.
people would just flush what they're supposed to flush.
You would be amazed.
Yes, I'm saying, if they just flush what they're supposed to
Well,
flush.
when you think
and
about
not-
like the growing population of Grove and the things that we're doing here and the strain that it puts on those systems, I mean, it just is kind
And
of
we might get
inevitable.
by, with one this year and then do one next year, and in the process, maybe we can get this system integrated into our grant that we wanna try to go after, and,
That'd be nice.
you know, I just know that we don't wanna get in a situation where we've got spills happening over in these heavy use areas and we're not
Well,
addressing
I
it.
wouldn't want to chance it for 7,000, if we're just talking about another 7,000. Go ahead, I would say.
We're talking
20,000.
20,000, it's like
Or 7
19,000.
pumps, I mean,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
20,000, I mean,
Yeah.
it's something we're going
Bobby?
to
One
have
thing that
anyway,
nobody
sounds like.
mentioned was all the wastewater coming from Twin Cities. When
Yeah.
that starts getting developed, there's gonna be the manufacturing water, the sewage water, like all that water from any of those manufacturers are coming.
And that's gonna come through our lift station
That's gonna be on 17.
on
Yeah,
17th Street.
I thought
And was that the
we were
number?
But do we get a
What
sewer
are the
meter
two?
for that? Is there a billing?
But it'll
Are
still
we
come
billing
through
for that?
our system here to get to the
Water.
plant.
Oh, yeah, oh, yeah, oh, yeah, that,
They
yes.
got their own well, but
But
they're
their
paying
main
for
thing
sewer
that's
meters.
gonna
I
come
don't
from,
know how
they are
that's
putting a new
structured.
pump station in out there that's
Okay.
gonna pull it from
Dale's
Is
got a
this
good
90%
question.
software that we're paying for? We buy some hard parts.
the, you're buying some hard
I mean,
parts too.
a couple cameras and some float
Yeah.
devices, but, I mean,
Yeah.
break me down what I'm buying here.
Shoot, I'd have to look at the paper exactly.
I mean, I felt like I was just buying an Apple app. Just put my-
Well, it actually has some.
No, they're
components.
actually submerged,
Not
I mean,
exaggerated at all.
Becky, Dale had a question. Whenever you hook up the, you want me to just
you
give that to
can
you?
pass that down.
Whenever they hook up to the sewer at the industrial park, those businesses are gonna pay a sewer bill.
Yeah.
Yeah, they not.
So they're not getting
And when they
free
get a
sewer,
water
though.
bill, they're gonna pay a water bill. Are they paying a water bill now?
Water goes through the city, we don't do water.
But we're gonna get the sewer business,
Correct,
because but we take care of the water, right?
no.
No.
They do.
They,
We have a well.
Okay.
You're just, Kabul takes care of all the water quality.
Okay, so whenever we hooked up, good question, Dale, which makes sense. It's gonna come to the city because we put the, right, okay.
yeah, we're doing the sewer.
So we could get a push, they may have enough to
They,
pay for 1 meter a year or 2 meters a year or something.
It'll be
Yeah.
a while.
it'll be a while,
I'm not
but
sure what
yeah.
kind of volume that is. when they're
I
building
mean,
it.
right now, there's not gonna be a ton of sewage from out there because it's mainly just L&R that's out there, depending on the growth, cause
And that's
most,
an
right now you
installation
have
still.
bathrooms.
Some
It's
of
just
our
still water, that's
state,
not much.
some of the state questions they asked whenever we were going through all this information was, can you support, and I can't remember how much it was, like 500,000 gallons a day or 200,000 gallons a day or something. It was
So the-
ridiculous amount
In a
of water.
4-inch pipe, makes me nervous.
Well, the
Sorry.
reason for a 4-inch pipe though is if you do a bigger pipe, then you get room in there that you can sit and then solids aren't moving. You don't want a bigger pipe than the 4-inch.
And this thing here, it's gonna pump it. Okay, all right. So what do you
So,
need from
I don't really
council?
need anything right this minute. I
Just to
need
be
you guys,
thinking.
I'm gonna try to get some more information, get it back for you, and we'll talk about the budget, but, I'd like to kinda make a decision on it at the next council meeting, so
Okay.
you guys,
We
Okay,
have two choices, one finance it and one paying cash, or is it just,
I just wanna take it
20,000
out, I
cash
just
in.
wanna take it out of the budget. The big decision to me would be if we wanna do,
all of them or?
One or two or
I don't wanna
something?
do all of them, no way. I
Just
don't
do the
wanna-
two, okay.
We don't, I don't wanna come up with that much out of the budget. At the most 2,
Okay.
for this budget year, but we'll see. Let me do a little more research on some stuff and then we'll bring it up at the next council meeting.
Anything else?
Let's see.
You got sales tax on there, sales tax up?
Well, our August sales tax was down a little bit from last year. So you received the money that we got in September, the report that you have there. The money that we just got in September, that's for August sales tax in town, and it was down a little bit from last year, about $20,000.
And Becky, would it
Much
be
as
possible
Becky's on my
to show
computer.
last year's?
Yeah.
Becky's on my computer.
What?
Whatever you clicked on mine.
Mhm.
Well, if you're on the
Said
same-
Becky Davis.
It just shows you.
Yeah, if you guys
Oh,
are
and
all
it shows
sharing
that I
the
was
same
on there.
doc,
Same Google Doc.
see
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
Clicks on it.
All right, anything else? Sales tax was down a little bit, probably
I have
because
some
of the
stuff.
election and everything.
Yeah, I was kinda surprised, cause we had, we had Heritage Fest and a lot of activities in August, so, but the sales tax holiday is in August.
that's in August last year too.
That's what I mean, it was last year too, so I don't know.
Does
And
our
it could be
sales
that,
tax-
it could be that you have somebody that's behind on paying their sales tax.
Says.
Or someone's not paying their sales tax.
Correct.
Would it be possible to add a column for last year? and
Yeah,
then
that's what I'm
I
looking
can,
for.
ask you to
yeah.
add every time?
I can just give you a total for last year so you know what,
Okay, thanks.
okay. That's all the rest of the stuff I have is in closed session.
All right.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
let's pay the bills.
Hey,
Any questions?
Next Wednesday.
I second Webb's motion.
there you go. Be the man.
All in favor?
Aye.
You have a question?
We did say we were gonna go back when Jamie was here to Citizens Advisory, didn't we?
Oh, yeah.
No, I've changed my mind.
Okay.
No, we're going to. Everybody okay with paying the bills? Have a vote?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Jamie?
Yeah, so, I mean, basically, I haven't followed up with Preston since, they met, but, I knew what they were gonna talk about and have looked over the minutes. So what we had posed to them is just the idea around doing closures of the square, notifying, just kind of thoughts and ideas around that. So you can see they kind of hit on some different points, and Becky, were you there
Yeah.
for the
At the
meeting?
start of the meeting, yeah.
So you can see just kind of the notification ideas of notifying businesses about that closure, the application process, and some recommendations that they had there, trying to kind of set best times for that, so weekends, not Fridays, was put in there, and then just the concerns about Mountain Grove Pharmacy.
I think the application process sounds like a good idea because then you have a level of attendance that would constitute
Doing
full or
that.
partial closure.
Yeah.
I think that's a good idea.
And as we were just talking about sales tax, obviously making sure that those things are in place for any of the vendors, and the bathrooms, which I know we've talked about, kind of bathroom stuff around the square anyway, and those
That would be
needs.
great to have a bathroom. If we get someone to build them, we have
Yeah.
trouble getting bids.
So yeah, so kind of some of the things that we talked about, and I think just kind of expanding on those, so I thought it was good to toss it to them. So what is kind of our next step then on this process, like creating the application process and
Yeah,
some
I
kind of
think
rules
so.
around?
Are you doing it for
Yeah.
like closing it, to have an
Yeah,
application?
anytime somebody wants to close the square for an event, that they have some type of process to go through to
Do they go
request
through the
that,
city?
know
Do they
the
go through the-
stipulations.
Right now, they just come in and ask us, and then we ask the council about closing the square, but, you know, filling out an application that gives us information about the event and that they've turned in their, you know, they could check a box that they've done their insurance stuff, that they've done, you know, it probably wouldn't be a bad idea to just
Kind
actually,
of standardize the
just because it's
process.
becoming more frequent.
Yeah.
So how do you know that I'm paying my sales tax on a vendor truck?
Because we can look,
You can look through the state tax records.
correct.
For that, say on the 2 days of Heritage Fest, can you see how
No.
much tax?
All we can do is look at for the month, if they've paid their sales tax. We have no way of knowing.
Yeah, okay.
But if you see that they haven't paid any sales tax for that month and they've been in your town 2 or 3 times, then you know that they haven't paid any sales tax on what
Did you
they,
check on that one that you was remember about?
I don't think we did
Okay.
yet.
All right. Anything else, Jamie?
Nope, that was pretty much
You have
it.
your tardy slip. Anything else before we go
I
to closed
can
session?
write
Take a short break. We'll be right back. Do we want to?
We'll go in there for closed session.